Hey, what's up? This is Carl Joshua Ncube, CEO and founder of Rural BnB. I've started this series. In the first part, we were talking about 10 business ideas for rural tourism. And then in each consequent episode, I'm going to be unpacking each of those items. So the first item that was on that list of 10 things that you can do in terms of business ideas for rural tourism is starting a rural BnB. So what is a rural BnB in terms of the type of structure? So we're looking at the building itself. So rural BnB is a company that's premised on the idea that people within villages can actually set up their homesteads or their huts to accept visitors. And then using our booking platform, we can send visitors who can then experience life in the villages the same way that they would in a hotel. Now, this comes right across the bat in Africa. I say this because it frames the first part that we talk about, which is important, is going to be the visual style or the visual architecture or the visual language of the building itself. What does the building look like? So the building has to exemplify the surroundings. So when a person is coming into an area where there's like a Kore village, where it's going to be a Zulu village, a Xhosa village, and Ndebele village, or they're going to be seeing a Masai Mara sort of as a Masai village like in Kenya, they need to see something that sort of exemplifies the village or the setting that you're in. So it makes no sense to put a Western type building into that setting because people do not travel to Africa to come and stay in Western looking accommodation, which is why you see a lot of the lodges, the visual style and the visual architecture borrows some elements from the village, like your thatched roofing and that kind of thing. So that's an important aspect, that the visual language or the visual architecture of the place that they're staying in has to represent the area that people are coming into. Just think about it. They're coming into Africa. So you want to sell them the stereotypical idea of Africa that they've had from a rural perspective. But this is not to say that you're trying to sell an idea of poverty, for example, because we look at Africa as rural BnB as the Africa before colonization. So the villages were places, were thriving, bustling cities of trade, like the Munumutapa kingdom, the larger kingdoms that existed. So what we are going back to is that element where people will come from around the world and will come to seek the cultural richness that's existing in Africa. The second part is that you want your building to utilize the sustainable materials. And so, utilizing sustainable materials that exist within that environment. To be responsible with the way that you're going to be building your stuff. So there are materials like cob. Cob is basically describing how the mud structures were built. It's now considered a technology present day because of its thermal mass, its ability to be able to insulate, to keep you warm in the winter and to keep you cool in the summer. And so cob is made up of a certain number of parts of clay, certain parts of sand, certain parts of straw, and that's mixed with water to create a very durable, light, sort of lightweight, very much a room that breathes. So using that material is going to be very important. There's also sustainable material like poles. Certain villages actually grow gum trees in that particular area. And so they grow them in succession so that some are ready to harvest after a certain number of years, and those can be used for building materials. Another sustainable building material that's being used present day is bamboo. So we're also encouraging the growing of bamboo because the Chinese use bamboo to great effect to create a lot of amazing structures. And there's different varieties of bamboo that can be used. Again, bamboo, you need to be very careful that it is grown within a controlled space because it tends to be an invasive species. So it's very good to contact your forestry commissions or people like that to be able to direct you on safe or good practices, or even just follow some of the updates that we have on the Rural BnB website to get information there. Okay, so the third thing is that you need to engage the community in terms of construction. The reason why you do that is because the building techniques are going to be very important here. The communities will know what the age-old building techniques are, and you want that exemplified in your building. So while you may be dealing with an architect or it could be with Rural BnB, because we can sit you down and do consultation and come up with designs. But when it comes to the construction, we then recommend that you utilize local artisans and local builders to be able to come up with the structures. Why this is very important is because when your visitors are now coming in and they're staying in your place, you can then take them on tours in the village to see the other structures in the village and show how you borrowed some ideas from there to actually build your particular premise. And that's going to be very important, because even those tours themselves are monetizable. And it also makes the client believe that you are very much part of the community and have an influence in the community. Because when people start seeing the ideas you're bringing from a rural BnB perspective, it will also kind of inform and influence the design principles or the building principles within that particular area. So that cannot be underestimated. You should design your places for comfort, obviously. So even though on the outside it may look, you can go for a very rustic look. In fact, you can actually make your hut look like exactly like the other huts in the area. But on the inside, you still have the option of being able to put drywall or plaster, or being able to dress it up utilizing hotel standards. Now, in our consultation, we then take you through what those hotel standards are. And mainly they center around how the bed is going to be made up and set up from a design perspective, and as well as what the toilets and ablution facilities are going to be in there, as well as other things that you can put in, like chairs or windows, because the hut doesn't necessarily need to be exactly like the ones in the village. They can be put with a glass front, or they can be all glass around, or the types of glass that you can use, or they could be made using canvas. But the idea is to make it comfortable for your visitors when they are coming to stay. um, Sanitation and hygiene is going to be very important. So there are a number of different things that you need to think about when you're doing off-grid facilities such as these. Is number one, what is going to happen with your septic? So what types of toilet are you going to be using? There are a number of different options that we take you through. There's the composting toilet that you can use, which around the world right now, people are looking for waterless toilets. So people will travel to a place that has a waterless toilet system. There's a lot of research and money being put into waterless toilets. One of the main ones being the composting toilet. So there's companies like Nature's Head, which makes a very expensive composting toilet. Basically, what happens is that you you do your business, and then basically it goes into like a composting bin at the bottom of the toilet, which is mixed with whether it's going to be wooden shavings, coconut material, or you can use sand. And basically what it does is that it converts all of your waste into compost, and then you dump that into a composting pile, which will be cured or set for about a year, and then can be utilized for areas like pasture, grass, those particular types of things, or even for growing trees or regenerating forests within your village. So that's going to be very important. Or you can consider the biogas option, which is to have a septic that is feeding into a biogas setup, so you'll be producing your own gas. So it's very important to think about how you're going to be using resources in terms of water and so on. The more sustainable you are, the more you can attract a particular type of clientele that is seeking to live off grid and understand how to live off grid by booking and staying at your facility. So this is going to be important. You need to incorporate a lot of cultural elements. Now, this is very, very important. Now, when you think about it, your room is like a showroom of products that you can sell. So think about your paintings. If you have your paintings with QR codes, the keychains, the fridge magnets, the wall hanging, some of the decorative elements, where your bath amenities are going to be put, make sure that they are connected. And we show you how to connect it to our online store, where stuff can be sold from your particular place, and you can actually make money from people staying in your room, seeing nice things in your room, and being able to purchase stuff in your room, and that can be shipped to them. So we take you through the business models that are involved in doing stuff like that. Another area is you need to address the like safety and security, and this is an important part from a community perspective. So working with the community is one of the main areas that will allow for you to be able to have safety. People in a community tend to preserve something that belongs to them. So we sort of teach you how you can engage with the community to get ownership. When I say ownership, as in they feel like they're part and parcel of what's going on. For example, they are working at your premises. They are, they're doing a lot of different jobs there, from the housekeeping to being chefs, uh, and training them up. Some may end up becoming general managers, or or some, in terms of the school programs that you might actually want to do in the community, like bringing in school kids camps. So when the community feel like there's ownership of the project, there is more safety that's guaranteed for you. There's obviously other things like surveillance systems, putting in Starlink, putting camera systems and that kind of thing that can allow you to be able to make the environment a lot safer, especially if people come there and they feel that they are also able to communicate with the outside world. This is going to be of paramount importance. You need to promote sustainability within the place that you're building. So in the hut that you are building, it needs to be communicated to your guests that this is a sustainable project, and that how they live within the place must increase the lack of pollution, and to reduce the wastage and that kind of thing, by encouraging good behavior from the people that are coming to stay. This can almost be made part of the ritual of coming into the village, like to say that there's no plastic, that you are going to recycle, reuse, repurpose a lot of different things, so that your clients understand how you actually operate. We have a number of really cool ways that you can approach this area. Then once you have built your hut or huts or camping site or glamping site, there are different sort of ideas on there, that you can actually see on our website, ruralbnbafrica.com. You need to then market aggressively your place to the market. And this is where the Rural BnB platform comes. Because we're upwardly mobile and we're constantly going into various markets and exhibiting at different shows and so on, we are basically telling people where to go and stay. So we are curating you as businesses and then going out to the world and marketing them. So look at us like any one of the different booking platforms. I won't mention their names because they're obviously competitors to us, but the number of different booking platforms, we are just the same. So we are a booking platform that specifically tailors to people in the market to see and experience cultural aspects of different countries, and we put that in different forms. So like right now I'm wearing this t-shirt, Morocco. You might have seen us traveling to Morocco. We're actually curating cultural places that people can stay during Africa Cup of Nations. And so people, when they go to Morocco, we are giving them a rural B&B experience of staying in the old cities and the old villages, and be able to watch the matches in Morocco. And so Morocco is also one of those places that's up there in terms of like its rural tourism and destination marketing. They are very good at presenting the rural Morocco to the world in such a way that people are able to get very worthwhile experiences, and the revenues are absolutely amazing. So we were very encouraged by the work that's happening in Morocco, and trying to pass that information to other people on how important it is to infuse your culture into your business, and how that can actually bring a lot of clients to what you're doing. And then the last bit is that it is absolutely important. And so this is the reason why Rural BnB is there, about being able to comply with regulatory authorities and all the different regulations. So we are there to help you to navigate the space of all the things that you need to do, all the places you need to register, all the things you need to think about when you're putting up your structures, to make sure that you're within the legal frameworks of the different countries that you're operating in. And this is absolutely important, because once your clients know that you have taken the care to think about everything from your fire extinguishers, doing your fire drills, that you're registered with the right authorities, that their packages come with travel insurance and all of these different things. It's going to be very important because the type of clientele that is coming to experience rural tourism needs to understand that we have understood the frameworks of what hospitality is about. And so Rural BnB is there to be your partner to help you in the process of making sure that you're not just operating as a fly-by-night business concern where you've just put up a hut and you're just hoping for the best. We are trying to make sure that we're using our hospitality background, especially in working with big franchise brands, with working with big entities, global entities, local entities, regional entities, to help you to be able to navigate the area of setting up a rural tourism business. That's it for me, Carl Joshua Ncube. Join us on our next episode where we're going to be going through, I think, the second point, which is going to be the food aspect of running your rural tourism operation. Keep following our platforms. We're on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Just look for Rural BnB Africa. Thank you.